Even if you're not Hasidish, you can listen to the Baal Shem Tov. And this is probably one of the most amazing things that you've ever heard in your life. These are 5 life-changing lessons from the Baal Shem Tov. It's brought down in Sefer V'ahavta L'Reacha Kamocha by Shmuel David Friedman, Shlita, a very dear friend, page 94, quoting from the Sefer Imrei Pinchas, Shar 7, letter 68, and also in Makar Mayim Chaim on the Baal Shem Tov in Bereshis. I'm saying the source, you can go look it up because it's mind-boggling. The Baal Shem Tov said as follows, and we're going to have 5 lessons. Number 1, Tzadik Katan Oihev Rishoim Ktanim. A kleine tzaddik, a small tzaddik, can love small rishoim. But tzaddik gadol oihev rishoim gedolim. A big tzaddik loves big rishoim. Now, this shows us the opposite of what our thinking is. Our thinking is, the more holy I am, the more I hate the people who are not from. I'll call it a Russia or weak struggle, whatever it is, right? The big tzaddikim did not hate. You know, it just brings me to mind the famous story of Reb Shaila Kerestir, Zchus Yagan Aleinu. They had a guy who was like homeless and like a drunk, you know, somebody who, what we would call, it says over there, like a hobo, like, you know, they called him Fetter Pinchas, Uncle Pinchas. That's what everybody called him. He was Machal Shabbos, and then all of a sudden he had a new minhag. He would sit on top of the entrance going into the shul, on top of the entrance, like it was like a door with like a roof like this. He would sit on there on Shabbos, smoke cigarettes, and then when people left, he would flick the cigarette butts at them. That was his entertainment. That's before they had like Donkey Kong or Miss Pac-Man. You know, they had to come up with these kind of themes, right? So they went to Reb Shaila and they said, Rebbe, Medaf Maros Varfen, we can't let him sit on top of the shul, be Machal Shabbos Befarhesia, throwing cigarette butts. The kids are watching. People, no deal, no dice. They went back again. He wouldn't do anything. Finally, they got all the hush of the people came, and they went. They said, Rebbe, people are going to say that in Kerestir they don't care about Chil Shabbos. The word's going to get out, and it's not good for business, you know, for the Rabbistava. So he said, I'd rather shut down my whole operation, and I won't be a Rebbe, than to go ahead and embarrass this Jew. He was being Machal Shabbos Befarhesia. He was Nebuch, and big tzaddikim love big rishonim. So I was thinking, and this is not what the Baal Shem Tov says. This is just little me. You could tell me if I'm wrong. Where does this come from? So yeah, they say a pasuk, V'saynei Hashem esna, but the tzaddikim didn't do that, right? Even the Litvish tzaddikim didn't do that. But I think where it comes from is the Yankees. I think it comes from baseball. It comes from baseball and football. Like, if you're a Yankee fan, right, you have to hate the Mets. The bigger Yankee fan you are, the more you hate the Mets. You're never going to find the bigger the Yankee fan you are, the more you love the Mets. You think that if I'm on Team Yankee, I'm on team, you know, then I have to hate Boston. They have a rivalry with Boston. That's the way we are since we're little kids. If I like this, I hate that. Tzaddikim aren't like that. So he says that this really proves that our job, for those who think that the job is to reject and forget about, he's talking about love. That means that you're not a tzaddik. If you're using rejection, tools of rejection were never used as, that's my whole point of raising royalty in the whole collection. That's what it's there for. Not by the Litvisha, not by the Chassidish, not by anybody. Number 1. So when someone is rejecting somebody for their sinful behavior, or hating them, or even not hating them, it's just like not loving them, it's not coming from a pure high level of holiness. It's coming from something that they should not be proud of. It's coming from their own spiritual deficiency. Says the Baal Shem Tov weiter, he continues, Aval Mashiach, you guys like that? The Lubavitch is perked up. Aval Mashiach, I don't know why Lubavitch took over the whole Mashiach thing. We had it before. We also care about Mashiach. We also have the Ani Mammons, but you guys cornered the market on that. I'll tell you, you did a great job. The advertising and marketing, gewaldig. Now you're never going to be able to find the Satmar that says, we want Mashiach now. That's done. They're stuck, but they do Bikur Cholim, right? I always say that. Everything is worked out. The Satmar guy comes to a hospital with chalas and fish, right? Amazing. Amazing. I know some people, they fake being sick just for the food. Unbelievable. Satmar, that's great. But they'll never tell you, they'll never ask you, did you put on tefillin? That's for the Chabad rabbi. Chabad guy comes around to the hospital, right? You ate already? Good. Now can I put on tefillin? And the Chabad guy will never bring food. Okay, that's we worked that out. It's very nice and smooth. Aval Mashiach yeh oyev umelamed zchus toiv al Yisrael. What does that mean? He will be oyev. He's full of love. Umelamed zchus toiv al kol Yisrael. On every Jew, afilu al rishoyim gemurim. You hear what he's saying? Not just before that the high tzaddik can love the high Rasha. Mashiach is not just going to go ahead and love him. He's going to love him on such a level that he's going to be malamed zchus toiv al kol Yisrael, on every Jew, afilu al rishoyim gemurim. That what? Shehem tzaddikim as a zenen gerecht. Not that I love you even though you're a Rasha. He's going to be malamed zchus, you're not a Rasha, you're a tzaddik. And you're right. Zeh zenen gerecht. You are right in your behavior. You have reasons why you're malamed zchus toiv on somebody. That's what it means. I get chills from this. Umachmas haschus shelomad zchus aleihem. Listen to this, please. This is the key. This is the key. And because he's malamed zchus on them, yachseru b'tshuva. They will all do tshuva. In other words, what makes somebody do tshuva? I hate you. You're a disappointment to me, right? You should be ashamed of yourself. You're going to burn in Gehenna. All this stuff does not let somebody do tshuva. Nobody does tshuva if the person being mekar of them, if they think that you look at them as bad. When you look at them as good, then they can do tshuva. You hear? It's very different than common sense. It's very uncommon. So Mashiach is going to get everybody to do tshuva. How? Because he's malamed zchus on them. And he says, and you see a lot of tzaddikim, and you see a lot of videos from the Rebbe, someone just sent me today, malamed zchus toiv, that they're not even Rishoyim. Oh, I'm not a Rasha? Because a lot of times we make them feel, you're a Rasha. Oh, I'm a Rasha? I'll be Mechal Shabbos, I'll eat Yom Kippur. I'm going to burn anyway. Right? That's terrible. He says Mashiach's going to see, look at every Jew's actions. He's going to be malamed zchus on them to the degree that they're not Rishoyim, they are tzaddikim. Like it says, Va'amech kulam tzaddikim. What does it mean? Chazal say it's talking about those that are not tzaddikim. But yet, it says Va'amech kulam tzaddikim. If they really were tzaddikim, you don't have to say it. It means Va'amech, they're really tzaddikim. We sin. Okay, there's reasons. And we understand our reasons, but we don't understand their reasons, right? We only like Haimisha sins. Even though it destroyed the Beis HaMikdash, Sinas Chinam, nobody ever got freaked out and threw somebody out because of Sinas Chinam. Lashon Hara, right? The guy came to the table and he said, I want to tell everybody, I got this piece, I'm dying to tell everybody at the table, but I'm not sure it might be Lashon Hara. So everybody said, okay, tell us and we'll tell you if it's Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara, anybody ever get super offended at somebody? No, because a Hamish Avera, right? But a short skirt or not sneas, and that's not a Hamish Avera. So even though Sinas Chinam destroyed the Beis HaMikdash, which is very bad, that we could somehow tolerate, but stuff that we're not used to, that we didn't grow up with, we have a major problem with that. Making your hair pink, very, very bad for us, Jeans is very, very bad for us. So we see over here a fundamental lesson. What makes somebody come back is that I look at you as good. And then they can do tshuva. Val yedei zeh, says the Baal Shem Tov, you negalim, ki b'tshuva negalim. And that's why we're gonna all be redeemed. So they are going to do tshuva because Mashiach looks at them as good. The result of that is we will all be negalim. Because b'tshuva negalim, when we do tshuva, we will be out of galus. So to get us out of galus, these sinners have to do tshuva. And how do they do tshuva? Not by showing them how bad they are, how messed up they are. They're a busha, an embarrassment to their family and to Klal Yisrael and to the community. It says beferish. When people look at them as good, then they can do tshuva, as we've proven hundreds of millions of times, right? And then when they do tshuva, we're going to get redeemed from this horrible galus. Ki b'tshuva negalim. And then listen to this point number 5. V'chol mi shemalamed zchus al kol habruim hu mi b'chinas Mashiach. somebody who judges every person, I'll call Abruim. Now remember Tanya Perek Lamed Beis, where the Baal Tanya says the Oyves HaBriyos Umerkaven L'Toyer. Why are they called Briyos? It should say Oyves HaYehudim or Oyves HaNashim, the people. He says Briyos means a creation, a creature. It's the lowest level. They have no value, like a cow, like a tree. And still, Aaron HaKohen was Oyves HaBriyos. Says over here also, interesting, he doesn't say even any more Rishaim. Kol mi shemalamet zchus al kol habruim. It sounds even like Goyim. I don't know how that works. On all creatures, creations, hu mi bechinas Mashiach. You are like an element, a concept, a shtickle, a little bit of Mashiach in you. So he says the words are actually very short. Let's put them together and let's see what he says. So he says like this. Let's review. Tzaddik katan oyev rishoyim ktanim. Little tzaddik loves little rishoyim. If you can't tolerate a bigger Russia, you got to work on yourself, because a bigger tzaddik can tolerate bigger rishoyim. But Mashiach is going to love and be melamed toiv al kol Yisrael. He's going to be melamed zchus toiv on every Jew, every single Jew. Afilu, says beferish, al harishoyim gemurim shehem tzadikim. As a zenin gerecht. I could tell you that I saw a kid and he moved into Home Sweet Home and he was eating on Yom Kippur and he's Machal Shabbos and everybody would say he's a big Russia. I got to know him. I got to hear his story. Terrible story. If you would hear his story, what he went through, what he suffered as a kid, and the damage and the psychological damage, and then having to be homeless and living in a truck, and if any of us think that we could do better, it says, "Havedonas kol ha'adam l'kav schus." It says that you can't judge someone until you're in his place. I look at always at these kids like heroes. I say what they went through, Rahman al-Itzlan, ze zenen gerecht. He's right. Yeah, but there's no yeah, but no human being can suffer the trauma that these kids went through, and it was one after another, and so many of them opened up to me, and so many people opened up to me. And if you're a trauma victim and you're doing better, don't look down, because a lot of times they say, I also went through stuff. Say, thank you, Hashem, that it didn't destroy me to the point that I'm doing drugs, or that I'm cutting myself, or that I'm Machal Shabbos, or whatever it is. Don't look at the bracha that you have of resilience and use it against other people that didn't get that blessing. Nobody wants to be them. Mashiach ya'oyev u'mulaben tzchus toiv al kol Yisrael afilu al rishoyim gemurim, that they are really not only they're not rishoyim, shehem tzadikim, like your father called your daughters, my mitzvah meidalach. Every time they helped him, they were doing a mitzvah. They're full of tattoos. They weren't keeping anything, but he referred to them because he was a tzaddik gadol. And he called them my mitzvah meidalach, not my rishoyim. You got another tattoo. What's the matter with you? Why do you have to do it? Why? Why? Anybody says why to their kid, don't ask why. You want to understand why? You have to go into the school of dysfunction and pain to understand that that they're right. One of the new parents that called me, they're telling me the stories, and their daughter is full of tattoos. And the parents are such wonderful people. They makar of other people and wonderful, and she's full. And what are the tattoos? Blood and skeletons. And I want to meet the angel that's going to punish them for that. We know what that comes from. We understand what that means. And your job is that even if until Mitzvah Shem they'll all be completely frum, but at least if they're going to get a tattoo, your job is to be like her, that she got a tattoo, now her daughter got a tattoo of an anchor, mom and dad. That you are my anchor. You're doing Hashem's work. You're doing Ratzon Hashem to save these kids. And over here he's saying that not only they're not Rishon, Mashiach is going to look at them that they're right. Once he's malamet zchus on them, when you are malamet zchus on your children and they see your vibe, or on anybody, and they feel it, right? That like a tinik shenishba. They don't know better. And our kids are not a tinik shenishba, they are a tinik shenishbar. They were broken. They shattered. Even if you say, someone says, no, the big Yetzer Hara. Okay, so what if God gave you the big Yetzer Hara? How are they supposed to fight if they got a bigger Yetzer Hara and they can't do better? Nobody wants to be like them. Trust me. I've been on the other side with speaking and working, not myself, but working with kids, and they won't tell you that until they get better. They wish that they had. It's much easier life to stay in the system. So we're learning a lesson. Look at people by being malamed schus, and then that's how they do tshuva. None of those sharp one-liners, or we got to get the garbage out of this town that Nebuch Chashav, a guy said in a town that when he saw kids off the derech, garbage. He's talking about neshamas, garbage. And then they say you negolim, they will be redeemed. Keep it tshuva negolim. And b'chol mishem malamed schus al kol habruim. Anybody who's malamed schus on all of the creations, umi b'chinas Mashiach, is an element of Mashiach in you. You're holy, you're pure. Mamish the opposite of what normal people understand. Let's try to have a little bit of Mashiach in us. Let's look at people and be malamed schus on them. And I'm telling you, when you win them over and they can open up, like kids have opened up, I could really be malamed schus on everybody. Really, really understand these kids. And not only kids, they're older people also, suffering and suffering. So much suffering. And sometimes they look like they're having fun, doesn't matter. They're suffering, and malamed schus on everybody. And like it says, we should be so busy working on ourselves that we don't have time to criticize others. Don't get into other people's business. Don't start figuring out who's holy and who's not. It's very different up there than it is down here. It looks very, very different. I've worked with kids who were machal, lots of stuff. I'm telling you, they were mamish tzaddikim gemurim, and they did things to prove it. Sometimes Hashem throws down these neshamas to see how strong they are. Look what I can do. I can break them and break them and break them, and all of a sudden they do a mitzvah, and all of a sudden they do something. It's unbelievable. They all do something amazing at some point. They all do something amazing. I've seen neshamas that were so broken. If any other thing, let's say you were in accounting school, and the accounting school did that to you, you would never talk about accounting again. They went through Yiddishkeit, and they were so hurt. Really trauma, true childhood abuse, trauma, the whole thing, and they'll go to Lubavitch Rebbe's Tzion, or they'll go to here, or they'll do a chesed, and they'll do it l'shem chesed, and they're sweet and they're good. We have so much to learn in this dar about what we need to work on ourselves. We have to purify ourselves. If you're looking down at somebody else, you have to raise yourself up higher. Beautiful Baal Shem Tov. Straight from the king, the Melech. Not just Chassidus, it's for everybody. We understand he understood what neshamas are all about. The Rebbe of all Rebbes. Do not be merachik anybody, because if you malamed schus tov on them, that's zen and gerecht. Why are you merachik them? They're right. They're good. And then they can come back and do tshuva.